guys, so today I want to film just like a quick chatty get ready with me. Actually, I don't think this is going to be quick because it's something I've wanted to talk about for quite some time, and I'm like, okay. And I was like, today is the day. We have some new makeup. I've got a topic I want to cover on my channel. So you guys are interested? Just keep watching. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is KARENHARRIS. I like to film tan girl friendly makeup videos here on YouTube. Highly recommend subscribing because I post quite often. Hate for you to miss it, and without further elaborating, let's get into it. Okay, you guys, so I'm sure from the title, it either made you want to click on this video or it made you not want to click on this video. Either which way, I find this so fascinating. Really quick, I want to mention I'm probably not going to talk too much about the makeup, but most of the makeup I'm putting on in this video is new to me, and I wanted to showcase it on my channel, so I figured two birds, one stone, let's go. So this is an old but a goodie, but I'm going to use the Huda Concealer, so I wanted to use my favorite Huda foundation, which is the stick foundation. I used to love her other liquid foundation, but honestly, that one's a little too full coverage for me now, so I'm just using the stick foundation, and this is the shade 405 Biscotti. I wear this usually as my winter shade, but I haven't gotten a lot of sun this month so far in the summertime, so I think this one works too. Anyways, I really want to talk about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and I just feel like this is a really interesting topic to me. Now, I know some of you might not have followed the trial as closely as I did, and obviously I'm not a lawyer, this isn't legal advice or anything like that, but I was just so captivated by this case because I follow Emily D. Baker, and if you guys don't know who she is, she's a lawyer, former district attorney, and she has an amazing YouTube channel, and she was covering the case. The whole trial was actually live streamed, so I think it brought a lot of eyes to the case, which I think was kind of the point because Johnny Depp was suing her for defamation, and I just learned so much about the American legal system by watching this case, and I don't think that I would have been as interested in learning some of this stuff if it wasn't for this case. And I just love how Emily covers cases because she really dumbs it down for people like me, and I think that's so helpful. So I highly recommend her channel, and I highly recommend you watching it if you're interested, or if you're just looking for something new and entertaining to watch. She does a lot of like pop culture stuff. So anyway, where am I going with the story? So I was really interested in her live streams, and I started watching them here and there, and then we went on vacation, so I missed, I think, like almost a week of the stuff. And then when we got back, I kind of just found myself watching her day-long live streams, and I was just so fascinated because I'm not like a diehard Johnny Depp fan by any means, and I didn't even know like he was married to this girl. I had kind of heard that he was canceled, but I didn't know any of the details of any of it, so I just found it so fascinating. And then you start watching the case, and I think I started watching around when Johnny Depp was on the stand, so I just thought it was interesting to hear like his version, and I didn't realize like they had a fight so bad where he lost the tip of his finger. And so I don't know, there's just something about the way he was telling the story, and then just like watching all the witnesses come forward, his security people and his like friends, and you know, just to get a glimpse, I guess, behind the scenes of what a famous Hollywood actor's life is like, because I don't think like we see that as much, you know, as an like everyday person. So I was like fascinated. I don't think a lot of people understood why I was fascinated by it, but that's okay. I don't feel like I have to justify my fascination with it. And just by seeing how much, you know, people like Emily's channel grew, I wasn't the only one that was curious, and I felt like I was learning so much about the legal system and how defamation works. So from my understanding, Johnny really was coming in at a disadvantage. So I want to talk about this little palette really quick. So I had compared this to a chicken nugget on my stories, and quite a few of you thought it was so funny. So yeah, it's literally the size of like a makeup compact, which is fine. Like genuinely, this is probably all the eyeshadow I ever need to test out a palette. If every palette could come in a fun size, I think I'd be here for it. Anyways, so where was I going with this? Okay, so yeah, I feel like I learned so much about defamation, and from my understanding, Johnny kind of came in with having a lot to prove. It was definitely an uphill case for him, and I don't think a lot of people expected him to win, because he had tried to sue the newspaper, or I think it's more like a gossip magazine in the UK called The Sun, and he had lost that case. But it's so funny to watch like mainstream media and even like Amber Heard now, because it's been like 2 weeks since the verdict came in, and just how much noise and how much misinformation is woven into these stories. So it sounds like you know what's happening, but like when Johnny Depp sued in the UK, he was suing a newspaper. He wasn't suing Amber Heard. And the way Amber Heard's legal team tries to make it seem like this case has already been won in the UK, it hasn't, because he wasn't suing her. He was suing the newspaper, and it was a different set of rules. Also, from what I hear, the judge in the UK really was biased towards the fact that Johnny Depp does abuse drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. Now, I don't drink, and it's just like a personal choice. It's nothing that, you know, I don't know. I was around it when I was a kid, and like my parents never made a big deal out of it. So to me, like, alcohol isn't like a big deal. Like, I don't know. I just don't get any enjoyment out of it. And I think I just missed the boat on liking the taste of it. So to me, I'll drink like a margarita. That's pretty much, or maybe like a milkshake that has like maybe Bailey's in it. Like, I'm not a big drinker. So anyway, from my understanding, the judge in the UK discounted a lot of Johnny Depp's testimony because of how much drugs and alcohol he abused. And also, I heard from Emily D. Baker that it seemed like the judge really took into account that Amber donated her divorce settlement, which is also interesting, because basically what it comes down to is Amber is just like a terrible liar on the stand. And even if she had all this evidence, the fact that she can't get her story straight really affected, I think, her judgment. Like, I think that she lost the case for herself because she wanted to really push this like agenda of being like this abused woman, and she would never own up to anything. Like, Johnny Depp, you know, owned the fact that he was, you know, abusing drugs and alcohol, and maybe that didn't always make him the best person, but he took accountability for that. And I feel like Amber Heard, like, anytime Johnny's lawyer asked her a question, she found a way to kind of like skirt around it. And I think that, you know, there's a lot to be said about owning your mistakes versus trying to dance around it and seem so superior. And I feel like Amber just did not win the jury over with the way she kind of kept like trying to stare them down. And I don't know if she was trying to read the jury and like really play like this character and like answer the questions in a way she thought they would appreciate. But I feel like she had a lot of time to prepare and a lot of time to realize that her strategy wasn't working. Her lawyer was so bad, so ill-prepared sometimes, and like just could not ask the questions properly. So Johnny's team was able to object to a lot of her questions because she was definitely trying to help Amber kind of give the answer they wanted versus like just letting her answer. So there's just a lot going on that end. And I feel like I found Johnny's witnesses to be so genuine, and I missed the guy that testified from his car. I've seen the clips now. I went back and watched them, but I actually missed his testimony when it actually happened. But I feel like he just had a lot of people that came forward and testified for him, and Amber keeps trying to say like, oh, all these people are on his payroll, but it's like, well, all of the people that testified for you were on your payroll too. I mean, and a lot of the people that testified for Amber, nobody really saw any of her bruises and stuff, which, again, like, she said she's not the perfect victim, and you know, sometimes you don't document stuff, and I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like she had so many pictures that didn't make sense that I'm so surprised that she didn't snap a photo of herself bruised after being, you know, hit so much. And Johnny's attorneys would ask her about an incident, and then they would pull up pictures from the very next day and be like, okay, but you don't look bruised here. Like, how are you covering up these bruises? And she kept saying like, oh, you know, it's makeup. And she like iced her face and this and that. And it was so funny because literally, like, I have this little bruise right here because I scratched my lip. It was itchy, and I have a bruise and it's scabbed. And I mean, I can cover it up with lipstick, but you know, it's by no means a bloody lip. So, and then being on TV under like lights and cameras or red carpets or all of this stuff. So anyway, I just feel like Johnny's team had a lot of really good evidence to show that she was maybe not telling the truth. And unfortunately, I don't know, I just feel like I have no experience with domestic violence, but they had a lot of people testify that definitely made it seem very plausible that a lot of this stuff was made up. So, I mean, if it's true and he did abuse her, like, Johnny pulled the con of the century by convincing all of us. But now, beyond the trial, beyond the verdict, it's getting even more wild because Amber Heard's lawyer literally, like, what, the day after the verdict, they went on TV. I just bought this Makeup by Mario eyeliner because the Fancy Face said it was so good and I wanted to try it. Anyway, so Amber Heard's attorney, Elaine Bredehoff, was on TV like the next day trying to say like, oh, the jury was influenced by social media and it was such a circus and I was trying to keep the media out of the courtroom and all these like things were affecting the trial and the jury and all that. And then I think people kind of called them out, and then she swiftly stopped her media tour. And then now NBC, I believe, has like an exclusive interview that they're airing actually the day I'm filming this. It's going live, I think, tonight. And I mean, they've been like releasing little like clips of it, and she's still trying to say that she was abused and, you know, they like basically everybody else got it wrong. And there's this really famous quote that's come out where the lady Savannah Guthrie asks her, I can't remember what the question was, but Amber Heard was giving the performance of her lifetime or something like that. And Amber's response is, says the lawyer of the guy who convinced the world that he had scissors for hands. And it's like the most bizarre thing you ever heard, where you're like, Amber, like, are you okay? Like, maybe you should just really take some time to process this and just like move on with your life, because you're trying to say that like we are convinced that Johnny Depp had scissors for fingers. Like, what are you on about? I just don't know where she comes up with some of this stuff, and it just makes her look like such a cow. Oh my gosh, I was not expecting that at all. And I think that, I don't know if she's just trying to get her 15 minutes of fame, because I feel like once this whole hype dies down about this case, nobody's gonna care about Amber Heard. I mean, I really hope they don't, because she really doesn't deserve to, I don't know, be a role model for anyone. And I've seen so many people that are domestic abuse victims that are like, she is not like a spokesperson for victims. And also like, I feel like I'm talking about this from such a surface level, and there's so much we could talk about when it comes to this case, but the fact that people are trying to skew this as like only women can be victims is really quite sad, because I don't know, I just feel like it's really putting us as a race backwards if we say like, oh, because Johnny Depp's a man, we can't believe him, and how dare you like not believe Amber? She's a woman and she should be, you know, believed over Johnny. I mean, I think we can maybe compromise on they were both abusive towards each other, but the fact that Amber so vehemently denies being abusive towards him, like everything has an explanation. There's literally like tapes of her saying like, go tell the world Johnny Depp was abused. And it's like the fact that she taunted him with that, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a perfect person. I've said some fucked up stuff when I was mad at people, but to say to somebody like, oh yeah, try telling the world that I abused you, like you're a man, like nobody's gonna believe you, like that's, I don't know, that just gave me the chills, like hearing that. And then there's a tape that she's just like laughing at him, and it's like this really evil laugh. So I don't know, I just feel like, you know, it just was proven to me like beyond reasonable doubt that she was making this up. And like if it comes out somehow like 20 years from now that Johnny was the one that was lying, I would be so surprised, because I feel like there was so much evidence showing that she was also abusive to him. And then just the way she conducted herself in court and now after the fact, because she kept saying so many times, she's like, I just want this to be over. I just want Johnny to leave me alone. And then here you are, like going on this like press tour, like trying to rehash something that's already been done. Like they heard the evidence and they decided that you didn't have enough evidence to support that you were, you know, abused, and it was defamation. And honestly, I'm so sad about like the ACLU, because the American Civil Liberties Union like aligned themselves with her, and I feel like, you know, they've really lost a lot of credibility in my book, because the fact that they kind of used her to be the poster child of domestic violence without really weighing out like, okay, she's gonna give us all this money, like of course we can, you know, help her write this story. And even like the Washington Post, the fact that this is all just like a one-sided deal is so interesting. But yeah, there was this moment when Amber Heard was testifying. She was being cross-examined by Johnny Depp's lawyer, and they brought up the fact that she had said she donated her entire $7 million divorce settlement. And she's like, okay, you got paid your divorce settlement in full like almost a year before you got sued. Okay, so here's a timeline. She said she was going to donate the money. She never did. And she always said that she didn't donate the money because Johnny Depp's suing her. And so even though she pledged that entire amount, she now needed it to, you know, win this lawsuit or whatever. And Camille showed that she actually had the money almost a year before Johnny Depp sued her. So there was this really great moment in the trial where Camille's like, Amber, like you pledged this money. She's like, I donated it. And she's like, no, you pledged it. You didn't donate it. And then Amber's like, I use pledge and donate synonymously. She's like, when you buy a house, you don't like pay for it up front. And she's trying to use this whole like loan situation. So my understanding is that is how big donations work. You kind of pledge it and then you make the donations over time. Okay, so I'm going to try this blush out. I'm using the Sydney Grace blush brush. I'm just going to go kind of in the middle to pick up a little bit of both of these shades. But yeah, so I get that there's been a lot of people that are in the nonprofit world that said like that's how donations work, and I get that. So you like pledge the money and then you actually pay it over time, and they even showed like this form that was filled out showing the dates that she would pay like so many hundreds of thousands of dollars, but she never really made any of the payments But she went on TV saying like, I wanted nothing. And so all of these little things just really helped make Amber look very, very bad. And she kind of did it to herself. Like, she should have just, instead of fighting Camille, just been like, yeah, didn't pay it. I know it makes me look bad, but please, I hope you don't hold that against me kind of thing, you know? Instead of just trying to like fight it tooth and nail. She was fighting the whole time, like hardly ever gave a straight answer. I don't think there was ever a time she just said like, yes, no. Everything was like a long, drawn out explanation of why she did something right and why everybody else was wrong. And I really think in the end, that just made her look so, so bad. Okay, so very pigmented. I don't love this blush brush. I feel like when it comes to blush brushes, I prefer something a little bit more concentrated now, like something like this, because I can really just blend. Whereas those like very like soft brushes like this that can bend, I just don't think they do what I want them to do, so I'd prefer using something like this. Anyways, so yeah, she just didn't own up to anything, and she just kept fighting every single thing, and I just don't think that she was smart enough to keep track of all her lies. And in the end, she's just one person, and then there's like a team of lawyers that are keeping track of every lie she's saying. So they really did, as Camille said in her interviews after, that they really tried to use her words against her. And like her legal team, I mean, I've never really witnessed a trial, but just the way they were so unprepared, and the way that Elaine conducted herself, like just from like her inability to make sure her mic was on when she was objecting, and she just didn't display a lot of professionalism, which I think that the jury would kind of hold against Amber. And I don't know if they just thought they had such an easy road to victory that they didn't prepare as much. But okay, so this happened in the case. So say this is picture A, and now say like, okay, so I'm testifying saying, okay, on March 2nd, I took this picture. Okay, then it shows like May 2nd, and they're like, oh, this is a picture of the incident from May 2nd. So they submitted the same picture 2 times as evidence for 2 different incidents. This is an amateur hour. You're being sued for $50 million, and you're countersuing for $100 million. Like, that's a lot of freaking money, and you're pulling like the most amateur, most bullshit things are happening. And I don't know, I just thought it was so wild how they just didn't have their shit together. It was embarrassing. I was embarrassed for them. Oh my gosh, it was bad. So that, and then there's this expert witness that Amber called that was a psychologist, I believe, or some kind of psychiatrist that basically said on the stand that he diagnosed Johnny Depp based off of like characters that he was playing in movies. And oh my gosh, that was wild. This guy was just like unhinged. And it's like, you're an expert witness, you're being paid to be here, like be professional. And then at one point he literally says to the judge, he's like, do I have to answer that? And the judge is like, yeah. Like, it was wild. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Okay, so I bought a bunch of new lip products. I have this shade called Nile from Juvia's Place. I got these Make It Big plumping lip glosses from Morphe, and they had my favorite shade. This is Big Sweet Tea, and I just had to have it because you guys know how much I love the shade Sweet Tea. And then I wanted to try Gwen Stefani's matte lip formula. So this is her shade in Lovable Me, and this is so pretty, so comfy. I wore this in my ABH video, and I'm kind of tempted to put it on again, so that's what I'm gonna do. This is such a comfy, it's like a matte, like a soft matte formula, so it's so nice. And it has like a slight, I think, vanilla. scent to it, but I just think this is such a great color. I really want the other shade now because I've been loving this formula. I also have 2 mascaras to try. This is the new Rare Beauty Perfect Strokes Universal Volumizing mascara. This one was sent to me. And then I bought this one. This is the Tartelette Tubing Mascara. So I'm going to use the Tartelette one because I'm curious. I don't love tubing mascaras, but I feel like they are really nice. This component is really nice and heavy. So yeah, I'm just curious to try it. But let's go ahead and apply that while I talk more. But yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like I could make like 3-4 videos just talking about everything I saw. And I feel like a lot of people have had a lot of negative things to say. I feel like people are just like, oh, you're only interested because it's celebrities and these things are happening to people all the time and nobody cares. And I totally agree that stuff like this, bad stuff like this happens to ordinary people all the time and nobody bats an eyelid. But at the end of the day, I feel like this case made a lot of people really interested in the law, and I think that's valuable. Like, I don't think we should discount people's interest in the law because they were interested by this case and just be like, oh, you're just like following the hype. Totally true, but you know what? It's okay, because if something like this gets you interested and it gets you out of that ignorance, which is how I feel. Like, I was so ignorant to domestic violence, and now I feel like I know so much more about it, and I feel like that'll help me advocate for people in the future because I have the knowledge. And if I were to ever know that somebody was in a bad situation, I would tell them, you know, document, take as many pictures as you can. I would try and, you know, be more helpful than I am because I know kind of what to look for and maybe just feel like a little bit more equipped to help. So I feel like we shouldn't discount the fact that this trial was just like this big hypey soap opera. It definitely was, but at the end of the day, I think it also, you know, served a lot of good. And even like the Gabby Petito case, like this and like Gabby Petito really have made me so much more aware of the fact that just because I don't worry about something like this, there's people out there that are suffering. And I know I was watching Swoop because she's been covering this case too in her own way. And she was saying like, she's a victim of domestic violence. And she said that, you know, she encourages people, victims, to just document as much as you can because it's so helpful. And I think back in the day, people would say like, you know, tell somebody because you want like a paper trail. I think it just helped me understand domestic violence better. So like I had mentioned, Gabby Petito, that's a very sad case. And that was where a young girl was killed by her fiance while they were doing this like travel across the country in a van kind of thing. I feel like I was living in a shell, and I feel like now after seeing what some of these people have gone through in their life experiences, it has opened me up to the fact that domestic violence is out there and I need to do my best to help people that are suffering and to amplify that it's never okay, whether it's a man abusing a woman abusing a man, you know, same-sex violence, any of that. So it's just really made me realize that it's out there. It's not okay for me to be ignorant of it. And I don't know, maybe it sounds silly, but it's really something that I never thought about or knew how to identify or anything like that. So yeah, I did spend hours just like watching it, and don't get me wrong, I got a lot of enjoyment out of it. It kept me company through the day while I was like watching my child, but I also feel like it gave me a lot of interest in the law, and I feel like I learned a lot, and I think that that's at the end of the day a really good outcome for me. And I would encourage all of you to watch it. And I think at the end of the day, for me, I feel like justice was served. You know, the legal system is set up that you're innocent until you're proven guilty. And I feel like Johnny Depp was never criminally charged, and so I'm just happy that he was able to kind of restore some of his character. And it's so sad to think of how many people out there probably don't get the same chance to clear their name. And this is like actors, you know, they have, I mean, Johnny Depp has a freaking island. I didn't even know. I didn't even know he had an island. And I mean, just because you have money doesn't mean you should just be like, oh, whatever, like I have money, I don't care. Like, it just really showed that he believed in himself. And I really disagree with people that are saying that this sets women back, because at the end of the day, if you're telling the truth, I think it'll set you free no matter what. And the fact that she's still like trying to be like, no, this is wrong, like the jury didn't see all the evidence and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, but you are a part of society, and being a part of society is then being like, you're judged by a group of your peers, and for you to say that these people were influenced by the fact that Johnny Depp was a star, it just makes it just all look bad. Like, it just makes it all look bad, because there have been victims that have come forward that have had way less evidence than Amber Heard that have been believed. I mean, like Epstein and Cosby, like so many powerful men that have been accused and have been convicted, and then we have this situation, and I feel like you don't just get a free pass. Like, I'm not just gonna blanket believe you because you're a woman. Like, that's not the standard. But anyways, I feel really rambly, so I'm gonna stop. My makeup is done, so I'm gonna go ahead, do my hair, put on some earrings, and I will be right back to chat about some of this makeup I just tried. Okay, friends, so here is the finished look. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Let's go over some of the stuff I tried out today. So far, I mean, this little chicken nugget palette is actually really good. I mean, it reminds me of like drugstore makeup because of the packaging and stuff, but the pigmentation was excellent. The metallics are beautiful. I really, really like this eye look, and this purpley matte shade is so perfect for an outer corner. It was really buildable, and I think all the metallics they chose will pair really well with these colors. And then this is a beautiful inner corner highlight. So on the back here, it says this is a 18-month shelf life and made in Italy. So I think this would be like the perfect throw in your bag, high-end makeup palette. Very excited about that. I think I'm gonna actually bring this upstairs and keep this with my Shop My Stash stuff. And then as far as the blushes go, I'm definitely a little bit nervous because I know my original Pat McGrath blushes are very, very pigmented. So I'll keep you posted. But yeah, these are very, very pretty, very, very pigmented, and I do love her blush formula, so I will keep you posted on those. But so far so good. I really do like this color. I thought it was a little too light for me, but I kind of like that because I would rather have a lighter shade than too dark of a shade. So this is the ABH bronzer in Golden Tan, and then this Westman Atelier powder. I think this is really nice, but again, it takes me a while to figure out powders, if they're actually doing anything. I know this has like a lot of claims to it. It like claims to be skincare and all that stuff. I just don't have enough of a handle on it to 100% recommend it to you guys, but this packaging is really heavy. It's like a hockey puck. Definitely gonna take somebody's eye out with that if you needed to. I really am loving this Give Beauty lipstick. I definitely want that other shade. I really like this color. It's so pretty. It's like the perfect everyday nude shade. So very happy that I picked that up. As far as the Tarte mascara goes, this component feels very nice. I do feel like it definitely gave me some definition as far as lashes go. Not 100% sure how much volume it gave me because I feel like with tubing, kind of gives you a little bit of volume, a little bit of length. So actually, let me look and see. Yeah, I'll have to keep you guys posted because I don't feel like it gave me a lot of length, but maybe I just need to use it more. I mean, it was my first time trying the mascara out, so I will keep you guys updated on that in a future video. And then I think the other new thing was this Huda Concealer. So this is just my second time wearing it. I did wear it in my ABH video and I thought it was nice. And now looking at it, I feel like it does a good job. It sets, it's not overly drying or anything like that, which can happen sometimes with Huda stuff because I feel like her full filter foundation is so full coverage. But this one doesn't feel overly drying. I'm wearing the shade Golden, which is Huda's shade. I had a hard time picking out shades, so I just went with like whatever Huda wears. But yeah, that's pretty much it for all the new stuff. If I missed anything as far as giving you guys like first impressions or second impressions, I'll leave them in the description box. I'll try and link everything I used today. I hope you enjoyed this type of video. I know you guys like it when I do chatty get ready with me type videos, so hopefully I can keep these up. Let me know if there's any topics you'd like me to discuss. I love getting inspiration from you guys in the comment section, so definitely feel free to leave topics down below. I'm sorry that I got to this video kind of late. I feel like I could honestly do another video on this topic. So if you guys aren't too sick of hearing about Amber Heard, let me know because I definitely feel like there's so much to chat about. And I just like nerd out about this stuff because I'm like fascinated by human behavior. Overall, I just feel like this was a very educational experience for me to watch the trial. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, that is everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in a new video very, very soon. Bye, y'all!